Farzana Hafizullah, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Dr. H. Join me and my special guests as we make incredibly tasty dishes from across the Caribbean with a healthy twist. Well, hello everybody and welcome to In the Kitchen with Dr. H. This is season 2, and we're so excited to have this entire season 2 exclusively sponsored by Aetna. Thank you very much, Aetna. Well, I'm Dr. Farzana Hafizullah. I'm chair of the Department of Internal Medicine at Nova Southeastern University's Dr. Kiran C. Patel College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I'm just thrilled to have this Caribbean cooking show. I myself am from Trinidad. We have a Jamaican and Trini mix in our family. But this Caribbean cooking show is a way for us to embrace our cultural tradition in the foods that we eat, while making some small changes to make the foods healthier, so that we can stave off diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and some of those diseases are preventable. Well, I'm super excited about today. We have a wonderful menu that's actually an ode to Cuba. We're celebrating Cuba today. So what are we cooking? On the menu today, we have for you a savory, delicious, spice-forward turkey picadillo. We will also cook brown rice and black beans, and we're going to top it off with a spicy virgin mojito. So are you ready to cook with us? We're so excited today to have you in the kitchen. Remember to visit us on our Facebook page, nsucaribbeanhealth.com. Share our videos widely. We want to make our Caribbean community as healthy as possible. And we want you to help us and join us. Send pictures of the foods that you're cooking. If you use any of our recipes, we want to see it on our social media page. But today in particular, we are celebrating Cuba. We love to make sure that we invite community leaders and folks who have a vested interest in not only the health of their families, but of their patients, their communities. And today I'm excited to welcome Dr. Luis Gonzalez and Dr. Anna Taschereau. They are CEOs and founders of Lux Medical Center. Welcome, so excited to have you on our cooking show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite.
For the opportunity. We're happy to be here.
Love it that we virtually could be in each other's kitchens and enjoy each other's cultural traditions and enjoy a good meal with our families.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea. At least keep it virtual.
Well, I know Dr. Gonzalez, you and I were talking before about different variations in the dishes today. And then Dr. Taschereau, you're from Argentina, right? So if you have any variations, please tell us.
Yeah, I will, and I'm happy to learn more about these recipes. Even though I'm coming from a different background, it helped me a lot. I have a lot of patients from the Caribbean, so it's good to learn about this secret.
I love it. Well, tell us a little bit more before we start cooking. Is there anything else you want to share about your background before we dive in?
Sure, Doc, you said please.
Just a little about the ingredients are about the same, but the spices a little bit different. But I learned with the time, since we've been together for like 21 years, I adapt a little bit to the Cuban culture. So I learned different, spaces and using different techniques.
Yep, sure. And then I myself, I was born and raised in Cuba. I lived there for the first 15 years of my life until I moved to Argentina. Then we began with the tortilla. So basically, this is like my mom cook and the family cook in general. So it's a little bit like going back to the, it's my background and my flavors, if you will. Yes.
I love it. Isn't food, it reminds you of family and love and your childhood, right? So that's what we're doing today. Don't you agree?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They have that particular power to bring you back to very old memories and, feel like it's the place that you were born to, babe.
I love it. Well, you have to make sure you give us your stamp of approval. So the first thing we're going to make today is our black beans and rice. So what we're going to do first is, if you have your onions and garlic, we're going to go ahead and put that into the pot. We have been, for our audience so far, we did put a little bit of olive oil in our pans and preheated the pans with the olive oil. So the first thing I'm going to put in, and you're following along with me, right, Luis?
Sure, yeah, exactly. I'm getting the onions here. Yep.
Yes. Garlic in there. Okay. Make sure sizzle. And we're going to add some of our
This
onions.
is already pre-cooked, so we put it in.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Oh,
go slow with
garlic. Let's add that in. And now that is going to start to cook down a little bit. I'm going to give it a little bit of cook down. And now while this is cooking down, I know that my kitchen smells, I love the smell of the spices. I'm sure you're smelling.
Yeah. At the moment you put it in, then you start to feeling well about the spices and the memories and so on. So yes.
This is the best part. And you know, we got our kids involved in cooking. You know, they made sure that this was a part of not only the culture growing up, but you have to pass down some of these traditions because this is a big part of how we celebrate our Caribbean culture. Don't you agree?
Exactly. This smell like Sunday, any given Sunday here in the state also. You go to Abuela house, right? And you get this kind of food.
And you know, Abuela has to give the stamp of approval on this as well, right?
Of course, yeah. I already asked for some advice also before getting into the show, so yeah.
That is wonderful. So you made sure that she's there to give you that approval. I love it.
I'm pretty sure that she's connected right now, most likely is watching, so. whatever deviation we do is for the better, is for doing a little bit more healthy with a little bit of twist in the ingredients, if you will.
Exactly. Now, we're all internal medicine doctors, right? So
yes.
We tell our patients about these things, but listen, we're going to be walking our talk today, right? We're going to make sure that we're showing what we are recommending, right?
That is so good. Yes, I know that.
You can use, if you have pre-cooked rice, that's fine. If you don't, then I have parboiled brown rice right here. So this is sort of a pre-cooked brown rice. This one only takes about 10 minutes to cook because it has already been pre-cooked and it's, again, brown rice. So I'm going to add that to the pot just to sort of mix it around with the onions and the garlic at this point. Really want to get that infused a little bit more. And it's at this point, you can add in some of your black beans.
Excellent.
Add your black. I'm adding all the black beans. Now these black beans, they were canned black beans, but we drained them and we rinsed them so they don't retain all of that salt. The salt factor, high blood pressure, you know, our patients with high blood pressure, you want to definitely watch the salt content. So we have rinsed those beautiful black beans. If you want to use dried beans, you just soak it overnight and boil it and leave it in little freezer bags in your fridge. You can add it into this dish anytime you'd like. How are you doing over there?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Yes, I always recommend my patient also to wash the beans so you decrease a little bit of salt. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. So now at this point, we've got some spices that we can add in, right?
Yes.
So
we're adding a little touch of cinnamon.
That's right. We're going to add some cinnamon.
We have the seasoning, the complete seasoning too.
Yes. Now, what you can do here is, in this case, what I ended up doing is we make a green seasoning in Trinidad that has the culantro or the shadow benny in it. We've decided to add that in instead of just the culantro alone, but you could do both, right? Do you?
Yeah. This one is the complete seasoning too. They have cilantro.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cilantro, exactly as you said. Sprinkle that generously. I'm going to reserve some of my cilantro for the end. When we're plating it, we're going to add some fresh cilantro.
So you don't get one.
Yes. Add as much cilantro as you'd like. Let's see here. I want to make sure that the heat is up on this one. Okay. And now, some people like to have a smoky flavor, right? And sometimes they use ham hocks or other smoked meats. Well, today we're not doing that. We're going to keep this dish low in salt and healthier. So I'm going to pull out some smoky paprika. Do you use smoky paprika?
I have mine over here. Excellent.
Wonderful.
This one you give similar flavor and avoid the saturated fat that you might have in the smoked meat.
That's exactly right. Exactly. We want to keep our cholesterol numbers nice and low. We want to make sure that we live a long, healthy life so we can enjoy our family and enjoy the things that matter, right? Don't you agree?
Yes. You don't want your doctor to give you statins. So it's better to avoid it for begin with.
Yes, this is one way to avoid being on cholesterol medicine, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful colors in this dish. Wow, very beautiful. Doesn't that seem
Amazing.
oh. And now, at this point, now some people, end up putting in flavoring cubes in here. We're not doing that today. We're going to keep this nice and healthy. Those flavoring cubes can have as much as 1,000 milligrams of salt, which is a lot, right? So
Yep.
what I do is have some vegetable broth right here that I'm going to add in to my rice. You have the same thing over there?
I do exactly the
T
same.
and
Yeah.
Dr. T?
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. I'm going to put them in there and then just pour in just.
There you go.
We're going to sort of cover our rice and beans in this liquid, and that is going to be flavor that's infused in the rice and beans dish. Now, Luis and Anna, do you ever add vinegar to your rice and beans?
I learned that not long ago from my mother-in-law.
She does?
Use that, yeah, she used that a lot, and also it's very healthy, and that's when I start adding, but it's not something that we usually use in Argentina.
Ah, that's a good difference to point out. So it's a good to brighten the dish. It's almost like a lemon juice or lime juice. So I've seen that a lot of my patients talked about adding white vinegar. If you have apple cider vinegar, you can do that. Now you can let this cook down and add it at the end. I typically add it anywhere in the middle. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think?
My mom usually put it just at the very end, but we go.
Okay, well, let's and then go to your mama. We're gonna wait.
Okay. We can do Caribbean too.
We're going to make sure that we celebrate Abuela. Right? So we're gonna let this, put it on medium heat now after it's been able to sort of, you start to see everything sort of bubbling a little bit. And we're gonna just put the lid on it and then just leave it alone.
Okay.
It's going to cook while we get to some of our other dishes.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Are you ready for the picadillo?
Yes, let's go for this one. Let me put this one in another place again.
Okay, perfect. I love it. I love it.
Okay, good. All right, good.
Ready for the picadillo? Okay, so we have our oil already heated up, right? What we're gonna do is take our ground turkey and then just add your ground turkey to the pan. See the sizzle there? We're using nice sort of lean ground turkey. Nice pan. It's already starting to brown. Now but you can use a well. Let it brown a little bit. And as this is sort of cooking down, you can add in some of your spices on the top. Now, Luis, Anna, I know that Sazon, you can buy it in the store, but a lot of the ones in the store, they have MSG, they've got colors in there and other preservatives. So people can make their own Sazon, right? I have mine, I made mine in a mortar and pestle. Did you tell me what you're using on your side there?
We have the bay leaves around here. We have some smoky paprika as well.
Perfect.
That side we have the cumin, and then we have the garlic and the cumin too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to sprinkle our turkey with some of that seasoning first. I like to sprinkle the Sazon. And I have my coriander ground, my turmeric, my black pepper, some cumin in there, the garlic powder. That's all in there mixed together. There's oregano in there and some black peppercorn as well. So you can make this ahead and then just store it as your own dried seasoning, your own Sazon, right? And you don't have to buy it in the store, and you don't have to worry about all the preservatives. Now we're going to add in our onions. At this point, and you notice we did not, in some of the other dishes that I'm used to cooking, we would typically add the onion and the garlic first. In this case, we're sort of mixing it in now. just so that it doesn't get too soft. It sort of gives a little bit more depth to the picadillo. What do you think about that?
Yes, what I noticed with the turkey is they trying to do a little bit more a bigger formation. So you want to go ahead and be a little bit proactive and try to break it down. So you don't like the big pieces.
Exactly.
Thicker than the regular ground beef. So
Yes.
you have to mash it a little bit more. But maybe it depends on the cut.
Yeah, I mean, depends on the personal taste. I don't mind. It is a little bit bigger, usually the regular ground beef. So just in case that would be one of the difference. That's what I try to do.
You're so right about that. It just depends on your preference, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And so for me here, you're right. It's browning nicely, and you just break it up depending on your own preference. The thing about it is you could use a wooden spoon. I have this flat edge wooden spoon that I'm using, and I'm just sort of turning it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see that you can move more.
Yeah, to use a fork. Exactly. Whatever tools you have in your kitchen, you mix it up. I know. When I was growing up in Trinidad and my mom was cooking, one of the things that was very clear is you don't measure anything.
Exactly. You just put it with a good eye, and whatever you like it, that's acceptable as soon as it's healthy.
Exactly. But in this case, if you want to definitely prevent high blood pressure and diabetes and stroke, measuring some of the at least salt and watching the sugar content in there and all of it, that might be part of the dishes. We want to definitely look at that, as we were talking about before, right? Tell me about the that you're seeing in your practice. Are you seeing a lot of Caribbean patients?
So what we're trying to do is also just make sure that the patients control how much sodium of salt they're putting into the food they are cooking, and that's one. Is the preparation, and the second one, very important too, is just try to reduce the amount that they serve, the serving. The portion is a little bit smaller. Maybe that's equal as nutrition, and this is what you need as a human. You need to be the big portion, maybe. I try to teach my patient that sometimes it's more psychological suffering than hunger. It just go a little bit smaller with the portion. Yes.
That is such a good point. At this point, we're going to add in more dried oregano and more cumin just to the top.
Okay.
My favorite one.
We have it in a saison, but it's extra. And I have the garlic and the green onion, green peppers as well. Add this in right here. Garlic and the green pepper. So that infuses nicely into our dish. And this is also a preference, however much of the green bell pepper that you'd like, or it could be red bell pepper.
Yep.
Right?
There is no difference in nutrition. It's just a flavor. The red ones tend to be a little bit more sweet, but it's still healthy.
Well, now at this point, I'm going to add in my red tomato sauce. The tomato sauce, like a half of tomato sauce.
I put this one here.
Oh, the kitchen smells amazing. Oh, how is your kitchen over there?
But please give me some advice here on the.
I'm telling you just to use a little bit of tomato sauce, not a whole.
Yes.
Not looks more like a different.
I tend to overdo it with the tomato sauce. That's why. That's why Dr. is advising me.
Same thing. Love our tomatoes, and sometimes if you want the extra tang in there, you could add tomato paste, tomato sauce. I'm using a fork just so it's broken down a little bit more. Now, one thing that while our rice and beans are on the side here, what I'm going to add into the rice and beans dish at this point, as it's beginning to start to boil and steam over here, I'm going to add some bay leaves. And if you happen to have Scotch bonnet pepper, a whole one, you could pop it in there, or you don't have to. But that's one thing I'm just going to add in now while this is beginning to boil.
Got it?
Yeah. Just sort of mix it in a little bit and just leave it alone, cover it back up. Here we go.
No, but this is fine.
Going on
Just
this
put
side.
it over here. Then we warm it up with the rice that we have the prepared.
So good. It smells amazing. So tell me a little bit. Okay, now at this point, while this is cooking now with the tomato sauce over here, let's make sure all you put this at the very end. Isn't that right?
Which one, Doc? Son?
Your olives at the very end.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We want to drop it there just to warm up a little bit, not to be necessarily cooked.
Yes, and so that's already adding salt, right? That's one way to add salt to the dish.
Uh-huh.
We can control the amount of salt that we put in. So the tomato sauce has some salt in it, and now I have a little measuring spoon that I use for my salt and pepper.
Okay.
And good way. Why don't we can add a little bit now, and then when we taste it, we can decide on more. But this is a good way to control the amount of salt in this dish. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And I will try always to go a little bit under. It's easy to put it on to whatever a person desires, but just try to go a little bit under. And if you can, with all these spaces that you're using, they give a little bit more flavor, more tasty. So go easy with the salt, help you with the blood pressure.
Exactly. That's right. I mean, it's amazing how many of these diseases we can prevent just with the way we eat our foods, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and
Have some control of what you put on the table. Yeah.
yes.
I think that's looking very good. It's smelling very good for sure.
Absolutely. You know, Tito Puente, he write a song named Picadillo. So a lot of times in our kitchen we would have music in the background as we're cooking, and those are the best memories, right?
Exactly.
So we're cooking at the same time, and it's amazing. So this is looking great, don't you think? I mean, it's really cooking down nicely.
Uh-huh.
Has yours browned down all the way down?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Ours are ready to taste.
At this point, I think why don't we add our olives at this point?
Sure.
Now, I bought olives that have the roasted pimento in there, right? Some people can, you can just choose plain olives or the ones with the pimento. I like the ones with the pimento because it adds even more flavor. What do you think?
Yeah, me too. I like it too. If it's complete, that's fine. Again, this is a personal taste. Just remember that this one has some salt. So
Exactly.
yeah, leave it alone a little bit. Okay.
And that's a good point. So we're not using the liquid. We're just going to use only the olives, but you're right. It adds extra salt to it. Mm-hmm. And then some people enjoy the picadillo with raisins or currants. Isn't that right?
Yes, exactly. We call it picadillo a la habanera, and it's the classical one. You have the raisin and the small potatoes. And we don't add it on here. Try to avoid the starch and the glucose and the carbohydrate, but they taste very good actually. So you might try later on.
That's right. I mean, a lot of times the sweet and salty combination is delicious, but you're right. Trying to watch your starches and your sugars, just taking that out is a wonderful way. And yes, I was thinking about if you want a plantain on the side, you can just put it in the air fryer. You don't have to in oil fry it, right? And you still have that beautiful taste of a plantain without all of the deep fried fat.
Yeah, you definitely have the alternative to go in the healthy way. So that's why we try to encourage our
At this point, I think that it is on autopilot, right? So we're going to cover it and let it just sort of simmer for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And why don't we start making our drink? What do you think?
Let's go for it.
Yeah. What an efficient kitchen we have going here. We may as well celebrate till we So I have a glass that's filled with some ice, and it has mint, and it has a slice of jalapeno. So I'm going to leave that on the side. Mm-hmm. But I see that you have a professional mocktail setup over there. Right? You came prepared. Dr. T and Dr. G were prepared.
So basically, what we're doing in the same glass that we will serve, we have already the lime and the spice.
Perfect.
Yep.
So what we do first is, you could either do it in the same glass like you said, or you can in and pour it in, right?
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. The idea is to have a container that you can smash everything on. If you do it in the same glass, sometimes they give a little bit more flavor in the same cup. So
I love it. You're so right about that.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna add in our lime juice. And
Yep.
to that, we're gonna add our jalapeno slices over here. And now if you want to get a little adventurous, put the seeds in there too. Right? And then we're gonna put our mint leaves in there as well, just all of them. Pop them in there, fresh mint leaves. And then last thing we want to do is, and this is one of my favorite substitutes for sugar, is date sugar, right? It's essentially dried dates. It's granulated dried dates, and it has lower, lower number of calories, but it also has a low glycemic index. So our patients with diabetes, much healthier option for them. Don't you agree?
Sure, 100%, yes.
And if you don't have date sugar, you can use coconut sugar. That's also another good alternative. Now at this point, you can use the back of a wooden spoon, or if you're professional over there like Dr. G and Dr. T, you have a muddler, right? You can just sort of muddle this together, just sort of crush it up together in there. The lime juice, the jalapeno, the mint, all of that is kind of getting nice and crushed up beautifully together. Right? Perfect.
It's fantastic. It's like amazing.
Right? It smells so good, right?
Yes.
You're going to add your seltzer water to it. At this point, add your seltzer water to it. I'm going to pop my lid on. You don't want to shake it. You want to maybe swirl it, because the bubbles in there will cause an explosion. We don't want that. And then you put it to your glass.
I will go ahead and put some.
Look at that. I love it.
Small ice here before we put the
Wow,
water.
that's fantastic. So you know what? Let's do a pre-toast before we do the final toast, because guess what?
I think that this flavor deserves a pre-toast, as you say.
Exactly. I mean, you know what? A lot of times we make our mocktail before we even make the dishes, so we have this to drink alongside. And it's a refreshing, healthy way to sort of enjoy the mealtime preparations, right?
Exactly. So we give it a good shake.
Let's do a taste test. And we'll talk about what we made today.
Yeah, amazing. Look at the color.
All
Cheers.
Right.
Salud.
Oh, A+, right?
Yeah.
Tastes good?
Yeah.
It's
It's
really
healthy, it's flavorful, and no alcohol. So,
Exactly.
Because it's mocktail.
You're right. Exactly. I think we're ready to plate our dishes. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Let me put this one a little bit forward.
Now, at this point, if you were plating your rice dish, it's done. I went ahead and made a quick dish of rice just to make it easy. I know you did the same on your side. So we're going to put the rice in the middle, just a little bit of rice there in the middle.
Okay.
Beautiful black rice. And as you were saying, Dr. G, you're right, portion control. This is the way we keep our waist trim and stay off heart disease and diabetes.
Yeah, this is the maybe the most difficult step I find out, because it's a cultural thing that we have, that maybe we eat more than what we need. So I do a lot of education in that sense, and just make sure that they, the portion control is a big thing.
That is exactly right. I'm putting my picadillo right around the rice.
Okay.
And a nice circle around it. So, and then at the very end, we're going to top it with a little cilantro, the whole dish. There we have it.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm still doing the presentation here.
One thing, now we've got to taste test this, okay?
Yes.
And let me know if Abuela gives a thumbs up, or Dr. T, do you give a thumbs up?
He's watching.
Yeah, this looks really good.
Abuela is watching the video, so most likely we get a call when we finish.
They're gonna be so
Oh.
proud.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, we did not add the vinegar to our rice, but people can do that. If you want to use the vinegar at the end, you can at the end.
Yes, we just
Yeah,
added.
yeah,
I already
yeah,
added
a
it.
little bit.
Beautiful job. Look at these beautiful dishes. Look at that.
Wow.
We have Chef G and Chef T.
It's
Oh,
tasty. It is very well presented and it's flavorful. So let's try.
exactly. Well, let's tell everybody what we did today. What are some of the small changes that we made in these beautiful Cuban dishes today? Okay, we did quite a bit to make this healthier. So instead of ground beef, we use ground turkey, lean ground turkey. Instead of using coconut oil or butter, we use extra virgin olive oil and a non-stick pan so we don't have to use so much fat. Instead of white rice, we use whole grain brown rice. And you can even mix in some cauliflower rice into that dish so you have more fiber and less starch. And instead of flavoring cubes, we use vegetable broth to cook our rice and beans. So flavorful without the added salt, the extra salt. You can control the salt that way. And instead of using smoky, prepared, preserved meats to flavor the rice and beans dish, we use smoked paprika, which gives you the same flavor without the fat and without all that salt. So we are so excited again, Dr. Luis Gonzalez, Dr. Ana Tasseret. We're so excited, and we want to wish you only the very best of luck with all that you're doing. We want to have you back in our kitchen. And to Aetna, our sponsor, we're just absolutely thrilled to ensure that we continue spreading the message of health and wellness to our Caribbean community. And I'm seeing all the love on the screen. Thank you to our audience members.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful to be here and looking forward for the next one. All right?
That's exactly right. Share pictures, share this widely. Let's spread the love and make our Caribbean community grow.
Yeah, we will make sure that our patients will watch this one so they can see that we also do whatever we wanted to send them. To do it.
So let's raise our glasses to health and long life. Okay, join us for the next episode next month, third Thursday. See you all soon, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Salud. Bye-bye.
Bye.